We get your case, by the way.
Let me turn my ringer off. Okay, so I'm going to call the Finance and Operations Committee meeting to order, and our first order of business is to consider applications for, I'm just going to, you can just, whoever's going to make the motion can say what they're, yeah.
I'll go do it.
Yeah. So, okay, so for Rock Hill, York County Convention and Visitor Bureau, recommend for consideration to move Ms. Bauer into this vacant seat for District 7.
Do I have a second? Karen, do you have a pen that I can borrow for a pen? Thank you. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Have a recommendation and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye. For the York County Library Board, for District 2, I would recommend for consideration the appointment of Susan Pying. For District 5, the recommendation for consideration of Timothy Steele. And for District 7, recommendation for consideration of appointment to Dennis Getter.
Second,
Okay, a motion
Yeah.
and a second.
Joseph D. Required.
Oh, he declined. He's okay. Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 For Board of Zoning Appeals, recommendation of consideration appointment of Ashley Schreeman for a first term.
Second.
All right, motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye. All right, Veterans Memorial Park Advisory Committee, recommendation for consideration the appointment of Robert Jones for a first term.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
For Rock Hill York County Airport Commission, recommendation for consideration the appointment of Thomas Dubrullet.
Dubrulé.
Dubrulé. There
All
we
of
go.
us have them.
That's it, for a
Alright.
first term.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Board of Assessment Appeals, recommendation for consideration the appointment of Cheryl Sage for a first term.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, so now we have some allocations of some of our discretionary funds. I'm gonna read through. Can I read through all of these as a group, or do I need to do these separately? Let's see.
Yeah, just read through them.
All right, the committee to consider allocation of funds from District 3 to the town of McConnells. Did you want to say something about that, David?
Yeah, you want to wait to the end, or you want me to talk about?
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
Talked to Tommy about it briefly. They requested $5,000 toward a $160,000 EMS building. My understanding is they don't know who's going to provide the EMS once it's built. So I would caution the committee and town of McConnells that there are, I guess, difficulties or challenges with getting somebody to put an EMS service in there. So, I mean, they're either going to have to negotiate with our provider, which is Piedmont, to put something in there. And Piedmont has a vehicle in the Newport station. They have a vehicle, I think, in the Sharon station. So that's possible, but those resources are already really stretched.
Okay.
And I don't know, I'd hate for them to build a building and not have an ambulance in it, because I doubt they're going to want to put their own in there, or even if they could do that by contract. So,
Right.
Tom.
So, I recommend and ask David if we could go ahead and pass it, and I'll get in touch with them, and it contends on him having a meeting.
So it's contingent upon, you're gonna make the passes contingent upon David having a meeting
With them.
and him being satisfied with their answers, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, we won't release the money until we have some
Yeah.
understanding of what they're going to
But
do.
now, if they drop that idea, then they can fill out just another application or change the
I
wording.
think the F&O could then, if you want to do upgrades to their fire station or
Right.
something like that,
Yeah, because
that's all
I'd still
fine.
like for them to use it for some purpose, because I've helped everyone else.
Yeah.
So.
So you can find another use for it, you can
Yeah.
find another use, but this is your preference, this is the preferred use.
Yeah.
Earmark
Okay.
it toward McConnell's, and then we'll make sure we get a use that works.
Okay.
Okay, so do I have a second on that, Tom?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Karen gets to figure that out.
All right, so I think everything else is okay, so I'm just gonna read through these and we'll do these
Okay.
as a group.
Mhm.
Committee to consider allocation of funds from District 3 to York County Fall Livestock Show in the amount of $3,000. Committee to consider Committee to consider allocation of funds from District 4 to the Long Live Jared Blake Foundation in the amount of $4,000. Committee to consider allocation of funds from District 5 to York County Fall Livestock Show in the amount of $3,000. Committee to consider allocation of funds from District 6 to York County Fall Livestock Show in the amount of $2,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, if we can get a motion to approve the minutes from the July 17th, 2023 Finance and Operations Committee meeting, please.
Yeah, motion to approve minutes from July 17th.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And finance update, Aaron.
So keep this short and sweet like we have all year. So really, you know, on the expenditure side of things, no big surprises this year. We've stayed in budget. Everything looks good. As y'all have known, and for those that have been on the finance committee for the last several years too, you know, revenues are still tracking pretty strong this year. Hopefully, you know, next meeting we'll get closer to audit numbers. We're still doing some of those audit entries and closeout stuff. So we may have a better picture next month of where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
Should be positive though.
And I want to just mention something to remind everybody. You know, we've got a plan we established back in 2017 to set aside money to pay our future capital needs. In this fiscal year, in April, we're going to pay off our debt and be able to eliminate the GL debt service millage completely. We have experienced significant increases in our construction costs. Y'all are familiar with the 10-year capital plan we have in our future capital projects. Those numbers have all gone up. We're going to have a good year here, and we're going to put that money aside to help cover that cost of the rising cost of everything we're doing right now. So I tell you all that so you're aware of a couple things to remind you that we're setting money aside to pay for these future capital projects, but also so y'all don't worry about it, or you can tell your constituents if they go, how's this inflation hitting y'all? Are y'all going to get caught behind the 8 ball and have to go borrow some money? No, we're in a good position. We try to always sort of prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And, you know, this is tracking very well for us.
That's great.
So are you saying though that some of the money that would be paying down debt for the next fiscal year is actually being put aside for current?
Well, no, we've
okay.
already got the money set aside to pay the debt.
Okay,
That's already
okay,
out.
so that's not
Yeah.
impacted.
So
You
we're-
Not bad at all.
mentioned that in the beginning.
Yeah,
I was
no, good question. Where is the construction cost hitting us something?
I mean, it's everywhere. You know, y'all are familiar with Riverview. Y'all voted on a few
Mhm.
months back. Had a budget of 10 million, came in 18 million.
Yeah.
We're seeing projects right now. We went over some more capital projects, and Trish, I think we had one that came in under budget.
One out
The
of
rest
all
of them were
them.
coming in over budget.
Right.
So, you know, we're experiencing what everybody's aware of what's going on
Yeah.
out there. And it's sort of hard to
Mhm.
guess and predict. I personally think at the end of this year, all of those, what are they called? What's the politically correct word? ARPA funds?
Yes,
Okay, we like to say Biden bucks, but the ARPA funds have to be obligated by the end of this year.
Mhm.
And then they have to be expended by the end of 2026. So I believe that a lot, because you've got governments just spending money like crazy right now, and construction companies haven't come along to sort of offset that. So there's been a tremendous demand for their work, and they're very, very picky in choosing what they bid on.
Mhm.
You know, like Ebenezer, y'all are voting on that tonight. That came in significantly over budget as well. Now, that was our meeting today to make sure we still got funds for other things, and we do.
Mhm.
But, you know, it's just a fact of where we're at. I hope when we get into 25 and 26, you're going to see a lot of that construction cost come back down. But again, we're going to prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, I know concrete sure is high as all
Yeah.
get out.
You know.
Yeah.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Which fencing material is too.
Mhm.
Do we have a second?
Huh?
Do we have a second
Second.
to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank
We're
y'all.
adjourned.